I'm going to be very honest with y'all. I have filmed quite a few videos today. I'm very tired, but I really want to talk to you about what I read in September. So we're just gonna be kind of chill about this. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah and today I have eyeshadow in my eye. We're going to talk about what I read in September that I have not talked about in another video, and that's not manga or an arc. It was a messy month. I try to talk about my stuff as I read it in recent reads, that sort of thing. I just did not have the time between everything going on. You know, life happens. I'm not gonna apologize for it. It is what it is. So instead you're gonna get this maybe kind of long wrap up. I'm going to try and keep it short and not talk my ass off. We'll see. I do have a romance vlog wrap up because that vlog footage corrupted. If you haven't watched that, I'll try to link it below. I also have at least 2 arc review videos coming out, and Manga Monthly should be out on the first Monday in October, whenever that's going to be, before or after this. So look forward to that for all of that content. This is everything else I read, which there's quite a bit of, so we'll dive into that. Let me get some of the books because I shelved them over here and I shouldn't have. First, we'll get out of the way what I'm currently reading. I am working on a vlog project for SPFBO. I'm reading some of the SPFBO semi-finalists and now finalists. Right now, I'm 75% of the way through Daughter of the Beast and loving this. Expect to see this and its sequels in a book haul that I will hopefully film in the next few weeks. Fantastic book. Absolutely loving this. It's great. I am also reading The Martyr by Anthony Ryan. This is the second book in the Covenant of Steel series. I'm getting ready to talk to you about The Pariah, which was the first book because my husband and I finished it for a buddy read, and we are buddy reading this one now because I want to finish the series. The Traitor came out last month, recently, and I want to finish it. I am also, oh yes, that's what I'm reading. I had forgotten. I made a mistake. I made a boo-boo. So next week, that is currently what, the 27th? Yes, it's currently the 27th. Next week, the 3rd rolls around, and there are so many books coming out on the 3rd. I haven't read any of them, and I have arcs for a lot of them, but I made a mistake. First off, by starting Daughter of the Beast, because I can't put this down. And second, I picked up The Wandering Inn by the Pirate Alba. Oh no, it's so good. I have been wanting to read this series for, at this point, I think it's been a year or 2. It is a web novel that has been turned into Kindle books. It's still going on online. You can read it for free there or through KU. I have the Kindle version and I started reading it. I read like 150 pages in one sitting. Now that may seem like a lot. Keep in mind, the first volume I think is like 1,300 pages. So I made a mistake. I just want to keep going back to it, especially since I left off on a little bit of a cliffhanger. I ended a chapter and said, no, you must stop now. You must stop now or you're in trouble. To myself. I was scolding myself like I scold my toddler. But that's what I'm currently got going on. And I take that back. One more. I'm also about 40% through The Pomegranate Gate by Ariel Kaplan, which is an arc. I just haven't finished it yet. And I am liking it. You'll see that soon in another video, I'm sure. So the books that I read that I want to talk about. I read 2 buddy reads with my husband this month. We finished 2 things. At the beginning of the month, we finished The Pariah by Anthony Ryan. My husband, I think his favorite writer is Anthony Ryan. He refers to him as the GOAT, and he recommends him to pretty much everyone. He loves Anthony Ryan, and you know what? I do too. This is one of 2 Anthony Ryans that I read this month. I also read his new 7 Swords book, which comes out either at the end of this month or the end of next month. Subterranean Press's street dates are weird, but there will be a review of that on another video. But The Pariah was fantastic. This is the story of Alwyn Scribe, and he begins by telling us the story of how he grew up in an outlaw band in the forest. Now the first 150, 200 pages of this, he's such a little cocky little shit. Technically, this was our book club pick for our in real life book club, and I don't think our reading partners, there's 2 other people in the book club besides us, I don't think they liked him. To be fair, in the first 200 pages, I didn't like him either. But he grows on you like a weird little fungus. Alwyn is cocky, probably with definitely with good reason, but he is a little cocky shit, and it follows him as he grows up. He leaves the outlaw band for reasons, and he ends up in the employ of this woman who has prophetic visions, and she begins this like religious revolution almost in their world, and it is him telling his history as her, because he's also telling her history. Fantastic. fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. My favorite thing about this is the fact that his voice is so cocky that it's almost unlikable in the almost, hell, it is unlikable for some people in the beginning, and it grows on you, but it's also self-aware of the fact that he's a cocky little dick. He is told multiple times in the book, you talk too much. You use too many words. Anthony Ryan knows what he's doing, right? Alwyn knows he is the way he is, and he's still honest to it, and he tells his story the way he would, and that really enriches the story because you're like, oh, he's a real fucking guy. It's so good. I absolutely loved this. I cannot recommend it enough. Like I said, I convinced my husband, who historically does not do sequels quickly, to dive into The Martyr within weeks of finishing The Pariah. Great book. I am actually behind on my reading in The Martyr, so I need to pick that up. I recommend it. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. I loved it. Our next buddy read that we finished really quickly was Nolan by Michael J. Sullivan. I am a Michael J. Sullivan newbie. This is my first book from him, and I know it's not maybe the best place to start, but I still loved it. My one thing that I'll say is there is a section where a child goes missing. I did look up spoilers for that because, as I have mentioned many times before, I don't do well with that kind of a plot line, but it didn't spoil the story too much for me. So if you don't like storylines like that either, it's easy to find the spoiler and it's not huge to the story. But this follows two main characters. Nolan is our primary character, and Sephron, who is his childhood friend. They are the children of heroes that were in the previous series to this. So this is the Rise and the Fall series. The Legends of the First Empire, the Age of Myth, Age of Swords, those books take place before these, and it's about Nolan and Seraphon's. I just said her name. I keep doing this. Sephron. Why? It's their parents' book. Those are their parents' books, and this is their children's stories. One of the things that I read online that I did keep in mind is that Nolan and our other character, they're both several hundred years old because they are both half-bloods of this long-lived elven race. Technically, this book takes place several hundred years after that other series, and the legends of those books are the truths, like they actually happened, but everyone in this book believes them to be legends, including the children. So that is something that I kept in mind. And in keeping that in mind, I definitely am going to pick up more Michael J. Sullivan. Don't worry. I already have the second book of this to read, and I have pre-ordered the third. And as soon as I have a little extra money, I'm going to start buying the Age of books because hell yes. In this one, Nolan is, and this scene is within the first few chapters, Nolan is dispatched to a far-flung kind of jungle place, and he is stuck in this battalion, and he is sent out on what he assumes are suicide missions. He thinks his father is trying to kill him, and he is sending him out on these ridiculous missions to do so. Sephron, I got out of that time, her son gets kidnapped, and she believes that the nursemaid who was watching her son was murdered at the same time. So there's like this whole gory scene, and her entire story is her being told what to do by this voice that keeps permeating her brain and giving her these tasks to get her child back alive. The two know each other, and eventually their stories do come back together. This does have a good ending. Don't worry. In fact, I was reading this and I read the last line. I was sitting at the desk, my computer desk, which is right next to my husband's computer desk. I read the last line, and as I was shutting the book and putting the dust jacket back on, that line, I read it, it took a second, click, click, and then I just started bawling. I was bawling my eyes out, absolutely sobbing hysterically. Again, it has to do with a child, so soft spot. I sobbed. I loved it. Another 5-star read from me. Let's see what else is there. Those are my two physical books that I have. I read a handful of graphic novels, none of which really stands out that I can remember. So Mesh the Bad Demon, Across a Field of Starlight, Bug Boys Volume 1, and The Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich. They were all fine. 3 to 4 stars. The best one was The Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich, just because it was funny, but the others were just kind of I've already forgotten a lot about them. I know they were cozy, they were sweet, they were kind of low tension. If you want something that is cozy, middle grade graphic novel, these would be ones to pick up. I do say they're worth reading, especially for the target audience, but for me, I'm just kind of out of the graphic novel mood, I think. And these were library holds, so I wanted to read them since I had. So nothing really to say on these. They were good, not standoutish, but fun. If you're interested in them, maybe pick them up, or I could talk to you below a little bit more about them. Otherwise, I read the next Only James, which was Headcase. This is Asa and Zane's book. Really liked this. It wasn't as good as book 3. Book 3 had a lot more plot, I felt like, and meat to it, and I enjoyed it a lot. However, this one did cement that I adore Jericho, and Atticus is so funny. I love them. I love them so much. But Asa and Zane were very cool. Zane is a reporter who has rightfully figured out that there is some murdering done by the Mulvaneys, but he thinks it is Thomas, the father, doing it. So he is decided, he is bound and determined, he is going to find the proof and get him put away. He goes to an event thinking he's going to worm his way into Thomas's good graces, but instead Thomas has sent Asa because Thomas is too busy, and he meets Asa and they strike up this like relationship. It starts as a one-night stand and obviously goes from there because that's how all of these are. I really liked this. I actually really liked the mystery in this one, and the villain in this was both hilarious and really sad because I could see it being a real person doing that kind of shitty thing, but I liked it. It was good. I'm very excited for the next one because it is the other twin and Felix, and I loved Felix in Jericho's book, so that will be read very soon. 2 more books. I read Tinfoil Butterfly. This was by... who was this by? Rachel Eve Moulton. I was craving some horror, and this one was recommended, and while it had its moments, I can't say that I really liked it that much. The ending was kind of strange, and it did have some frightening moments, like, not frightening, but, you know, woo moments throughout it, but I have forgotten, honestly, most of the details. If I recall correctly, this is a woman who is on the run, not on the run so much as she has left the hospital even though she is supposed to be taking treatments for, we'll say something's wrong with her. I don't want to spoil what's wrong with her. She is supposed to be taking treatments to get better, but she breaks out of the hospital and goes hitchhiking because she wants to see the Badlands. And it starts off, she's riding in this fella's car, and then she gets out of the car and there's an altercation. She leaves him for dead, and she takes his car further up into the mountains where she's at, and she runs into this ghost town, and this little boy with a tinfoil butterfly mask and gets involved with him and the ghost town and his father, and it just was a lot. It had its moments. I think I gave it a 3. And you know what? I would stand by that, but it's a low 3. A lot of people have liked it more than me, so I would recommend maybe checking out those reviews if you want more details, because I don't know that I have much to say about it. It was strange at times, and it did genuinely have some wow what kind of moments, but I don't know exactly what the author was trying to say, and I'm interested to see what other people's thoughts are, so I do need to look up more reviews. But overall, a low 3 for me on this one. And the last thing I read was also a low 3, and that was Blind Pass by Tegan Hunter, and this is the second Carolina Comets book. I wanted a short little romance, and I thought this one would be really fun because it's a Sunshine Grump, not forced marriage, but accidental marriage, marriage of convenience sort of situation. We have Ryan and Rhodes, and they end up accidentally married one drunken night in Vegas, and they end up having to stay together for various reasons. And I thought it would be a lot more fun than it was, but it wasn't as fun as the first book for me. It just kind of missed. It didn't have the oomph that a lot of stuff has that really clicks with me. It could have been my mood at the time. I think I was reading Circumference of the World at the same time, and this was just really driving me. I loved this. So this one just kind of missed. I will continue the series for sure. Evidently the third one is people's favorites, so I definitely want to see what that's all about. This was a low 3 for me too. It had its moments, but overall kind of eh. There was a like public sex scene, kind of public. They're in a soundproof room at an art exhibit thing that Ryan was having, and that made me real uncomfortable because that is not something I like reading about. It's like food, right? I spend the whole time going, somebody's gonna walk in, somebody's gonna walk in, what are you doing, somebody's gonna walk in. Same as with like food and sex, like, oh my god, it's sticky, why are you doing that? So that could be part of why I didn't like it. I don't know, just wasn't that great for me. But I did read some other great romances this month. If you're interested, that vlog again is linked down below. But that is it for the wrap up. That's, like I said, everything I read this month that is not a manga, Danmei, or an arc. I will hopefully be filming a book haul in the next couple weeks. I genuinely was waiting because I thought my Kickstarter reward for Daniel Green's new book was supposed to come this month. Its estimated ship date was September, but it's 4 days from the end of the month. It's not here yet. I don't think it's gonna get here. So I may film a book haul next week or Friday. We'll see when I have time. But that's it. I am ready for October, man. But let me know what y'all have been reading. How did your September go? Was it a wacky fun time like mine? Or, you know, did you read any great books? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, y'all.